In April of 1993, our client learned that she was pregnant. She was surprised. She had been on birth control throughout their entire relationship. When she told Mr. Walker that she was pregnant, he seemed shocked. She didn't know what to do. Mr. Walker clearly wanted her to have an abortion and convinced her to do so. Our client alleges that Mr. Walker gave her cash to pay for the abortion and that she went to a clinic in Dallas, Texas. However, while she was at the clinic, she became overwhelmed with emotion. She could not go through with it, and she left the clinic in tears. When Mr. Walker called that and pressured her to go back to the clinic with him the next day to go through with the abortion. The following day, Mr. Walker drove her to the clinic and waited in the parking lot for hours until the abortion was completed.
Well, no, this is not deja vu. This is yet another ex-girlfriend of Herschel Walker that's coming forward with yet another story of him requesting and then seemingly nudging her a little bit further by driving her back to that abortion clinic to get another abortion. Let's keep it real. That's what is being accused there. Gloria Allred, attorney who a lot of times represents women who have been, who are coming forward with sexual assault types of charges and things like that. This one is another, just another accusation for Herschel Walker for him to deny. But Gloria Allred was not done. She had more to say. Let her continue.
My client has many personal pieces of evidence to support her allegations. Mr. Walker professes to be against abortion, even though he paid for and pressured our client to have an abortion. Mr. Walker claims on his webpage that, quote, strong families are the bedrock of our country, end quote. Despite his attempts to clothe himself with Christian family values, he nevertheless had an affair with our client for approximately 6 years.
And there, Allred points out the hypocrisy here that everyone also knows. He's been campaigning on being anti-abortion. There are absolutely no circumstances. I'm all about life. Never would do that stuff. You guys know I'm a good Christian. You guys should vote for me because I'm a good Christian. I would never do that stuff, except that it keeps on happening. The first time this went through, Herschel Walker said, I don't know that lady, even though there was greeting cards, checks, receipts, all of that goes along. He didn't know her, but then later on he did know her, but that's not really what happened, and the story keeps changing. I think Allred and her client realized that he might come forward with that same ridiculous excuse. I don't know that lady. So she came with some photos. Watch more.
This is a photo of Herschel Walker in our client's hotel room on the bed. Again, this is Minnesota.
Well, there he is lying on the bed. Gloria Allred pointing out, which I don't know, maybe the next accuse is gonna be, I never wore Wranglers. Either way it goes, here's more information about this. The romantic relationship allegedly began in November of 1987 while the woman was living in Dallas, a few miles from where Herschel resided. Walker came to her home several times a week where we engaged in an intimate relationship, is what she said. The woman also attended Dallas Cowboys games, both at home and on the road, and spoke on the phone for hours at a time, several times a week. Herschel Walker says he's against women having abortions, but he pressured me to have one, is what she said. The woman explained that she was motivated to come forward after watching Walker deny previous allegations by another woman who claimed that he had paid for her abortion in 2009. It's weird how once you start lying publicly and other people who may have experienced what you're lying about suddenly feel compelled to come forward as well. More. To bolster the woman's claims, Allred played a voicemail message that she said was from Walker and showed some love letters to the woman allegedly from Walker. She also displayed a photograph the woman says she took of Walker, and there's that hotel room picture that she then just displayed that we saw. Of course, Herschel Walker and a few other folks decided to try to defend him badly. We're gonna get to that first in a minute, but first, Jackson, what are you thinking, man?
Yeah, so I think that, politics provides us with endless examples of how authenticity really is the route you should take, because it protects you from getting backed into corners, where you just have to lie. For instance, yesterday I was just talking about Dr. Oz. He should have ran as a centrist Democrat somewhere. In his debate with Fetterman, he said abortion should be between a woman and her doctor and the politicians. I don't believe Dr. Oz is really against Roe v. Wade. But because he's running as a Republican, he's having to inauthentically pretend like he is. Nothing about anything I've seen from him tells me Dr. Oz is against Roe. Same thing with Herschel Walker. None of this would have mattered. The fact that he had abortions in his past, none of it would have mattered or been brought to light had he not been running on a platform of you can't get abortions. Nobody would have cared. Because of course, getting an abortion is not something that's radical or strange. It's quite common, and people do it as a matter of health. Obviously, we always say that how hard Republicans fight for little clumps of cells that don't even have names. But the bottom line is that even if Herschel wins, which obviously this is America, so we can't count that out, he in no way is a positive addition to the Republican Party. Because stuff like this is just going to keep on coming out. And other than that one vote that he can provide in the Senate, he really doesn't do anything good for them.
That's all they need. That's plenty for them, because then that's a potential balance of power type of thing. And then he's just that next puppet vote that'll do whatever they tell him to do. Here's more about him doing whatever they tell him to do. He went on Fox News. I'm not sure who told him. Maybe he told him to do this, but he shouldn't have. Either way, he went on Fox News, the comfortable confines of Fox News, to explain himself. I'm sorry. To not explain himself. He actually went on there to deny, nope, he didn't even do that. He went on Fox News to talk about anything else except for this while they asked him about this. See if he focused at all during this, watch.
You're saying you don't know this person?
What I'm saying is this is a lie, and I've said it once, and I've moved on. My campaign and moved on because we're worried about what the Georgia people are talking about. They're talking about this inflation. They're talking about crime. They're talking about men and women's sports. They're talking about this border.
I talked to a number of voters today. Some of them, these accusations affected them. To be honest, they said they just weren't sure, and they didn't know if another shoe was going to drop. What do you say to those voters?
Well, what I say to those voters is that if you are hesitant about voting for me, think about what Joe Biden and Raphael Warnock has done in less than 2 years. They've given you this high inflation. They've given you an open border. They've given you men and women's sports. They've given you crime on the street. The people are concerned about is crime on the streets. Homicide is up over 47%. Right now, inflation is off the hook. They're bringing pronouns in our military, our police officers, and the morale is down.
Herschel. Do you know this woman? Herschel, did you pay for yet another abortion? Herschel, are you a complete and utter liar? They're talking about crime, inflation, men and women's sports, open border, men and women's sports, open border, men and women's sports, crime, men and women's sports. Who cares, bro? But he keeps pushing this same line because he thinks that little about his supporters. They don't care. If I just hit these trigger words, it's like a science experiment. We just put this drop on this one piece and it moves a certain way. All I have to do is keep saying one thing and it triggers them to think, I'm gonna vote for Herschel Walker. There was more though. Herschel Walker stood in front of a bunch of cameras and a podium and said more ridiculous things trying to defend himself as people asked him, hey, can you tell us yes or no? Can you let us know what the reality is since you're denying it? There's more.
Yo, hear me okay? Well, I'm gonna just say right now, guys, I'm done with this foolishness. I've already told people this is a lie, and I'm not gonna entertain to continue to carry a lie alone. And I also want to let you know I didn't kill JFK either. And right now they sent him one out after he got crushed at that debate. And now the Democrats are doing say whatever they can to win this fight, to win this seat. But I want them to know they don't know Herschel Walker. They don't know that I'm from right here in Georgia, and I'm gonna win this seat. I told them when I got in this race, I'm gonna win it, and they now see that I am gonna win it. So I just want you guys to know that this right here, that right now, I'm winning this seat. So I think that Senator Warnock seems to not like me too hot, doesn't he? But I think he voted for me.
Just to clarify, can you unequivocally deny you've never paid for any woman to have an abortion?
He can't do that. I don't know who that handler was that swooped in like a security guard. I'm like, get away from the mic, Herschel. Get away from the mic.
Right.
Are people buying this, Jackson?
Well, I don't think anyone really is, but the Republican base doesn't really care. They're not in a good position for the future, but that doesn't matter at the moment. But it's always hilarious. Absolutely nothing. None of the accusations are true. Even my son, everyone's lying on me. I'm a total and complete victim, even though but just everything about the Republican Party is so stupid, which is why I just make fun of them all the time. Because nothing they say is on point. What like pronouns in the military, like what does that even mean? Like, what are you even talking about? Like, and then Joe Biden gave you inflation. Like, that's not quite how it happened, but again, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. So.
That's again, and I think he knows that. That's why they're letting him keep talking. And as you saw, Lindsey Graham stepped up there and started talking about Justice Kavanaugh because that makes some kind of sense with this. It connects somehow. I don't know. It's just a matter of them firing off enough things to piss off their voters enough to be like, yeah, that's right. We do support abortion, denying, accepting people that our principles say don't do that with, whatever.